In the Vikings now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome into our weekly live show. We have a lot to discuss around Sam Darnold, JJ McCarthy, free agent targets for the Vikes, and also some Brian Flores conversation. Truly going to be a very, very busy offseason for us Vikings fans, but hey, it's going to be exciting to talk about. If you guys still love the Vikings after that heartbreaking loss on Monday night against the Los Angeles Rams, just give me a skull down below in the comment section. I already see Mary in there, Vikings fan, card collector, saying, I think we need J.J. McCarthy next season, and I think we do too. And also my man, Jack Ray, producer of these weekly live shows. I think he chose a good jersey to wear today. Totally fits it. He's rocking the Michigan JJ jersey.
It's JJ time, baby.
It is JJ time.
It's JJ time.
See the stamp right there, the national championship? Awesome. Yeah, I think it's more likely than not that J.J. McCarthy is going to be QB1 next season, and we're going to talk about what Kevin O'Connell had to say around Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy. We'll discuss all of the quotes there, but there's definitely a lot to talk about around this football team. Brian Flores, is he going to stay as the defensive coordinator? We got a whole lot to talk about. But shout out to Mary, Ty Man, the Buckeye, Scott, card collector, and Garrett Russborough sending a $10 super chat. We appreciate you, Garrett. We'll discuss that here in a little bit. Just turn that down for a sec. Good. All righty. West Cat saying JJ. Bobby Blog saying Skull. Shout out to you, Bobby. Joe in the building saying Skull as well. Appreciate you guys tuning in for our weekly live show. We'll get to a lot of content here in a second, but first off, let's see what Garrett Russborough has to say, saying JJ was always going to be the QB of the future. We got him on a cheap rookie deal, and now we have money to spend. Use that to fix interior O-line, D-line, cornerbacks, running backs, extend some players. I totally agree. And just after this whole season ended, I think it was a big look in the mirror moment for myself, and honestly, I'm sure for the front office, because even if Sam Darnold played a great end to the season, let's just say he, played like he did during the first 16 games against the Lions and the Rams, yes, the Vikings would have had a much better chance of winning, but I still think we were exposed for some weaknesses on this roster. Still, interior offensive line, still a major issue. You still can't run the football. You still don't have any quick passing game, and then also on the defensive side, you haven't really had any physical defensive linemen over the past couple of years under Kevin O'Connell. The cornerback position has still been a big issue. So all of that, I think it was almost I think it was a good thing that the Vikings got exposed. They can look back in themselves, hopefully have a very self-aware offseason and address some of the issues that, that were clearly exposed this Monday night. But Joe saying, loved your live viewing of last game. Your anger genuinely helped me through mine. Love the show. Yeah, I was sounding off at halftime. Normally I don't get too fired up during these games unless in the bigger moments. But yeah, I was definitely pissed off at halftime of that game. But hey, we move on. We're on to the offseason, but we'll talk about more J.J. McCarthy, Sam Darnold conversation here in a second. But first off, got to tell you guys about one of our sponsors of our live show today, and that is Game Time. Now, if you guys download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS, you guys will get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And Game Time also has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your events even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app today, plug in that promo code ChatSports, and get $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, I also want to tell you about another sponsor we have, and that is Prize Picks. If you guys are trying to put more cash in your pocket, Prize Picks is the best way to do so. And if you guys download the app today and use code CLNS, you guys will get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use that promo code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, what is Prize Picks? It's the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. If you guys are going to watch a Timberwolves Wild game coming up, creating a Prize Picks lineup is the best way to increase your viewing experience. And also, Championship Monday, Will Howard. They have a sweet deal going on right now where it's only set at half a passing yard. So I'm going to take the more on that. Then I'm going to take the less on Riley Leonard, 167.5 passing yards. Then Jeremiah Smith, probably one of the best wide receivers we have seen in college football. I'm actually going to go against it. I'm going to take the less on his 80.5 receiving yards. But fade those picks, ride with those picks. Just do so at PrizePicks and download the app today. Get $20 off when you use promo code CLNS. Would really appreciate it if you guys check them out. But shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, so a big topic of conversation following the Rams game is who to blame. Is it Kevin O'Connell? Is it Sam Darnold? I'm in the camp. It's a combination of both. No doubt, Sam Darnold did not play good. We can all agree on that. But also, I think Kevin O'Connell deserves a lot of blame too. Heading into that Rams game, you understood your offensive line was going to get their ass handed to them. And that's what the Rams D-line did. And they showed it early in that game. So how do you combat that? I thought Kevin O'Connell, he got away from the run too quick. Multiple drives. The Vikings were running the ball very, very well. And then you would set up these deep play-action shots. And I like the idea of it. But the result was not there. And the result would be a massive 15-yard sack. Sam Darnold actually broke the record for most yardage loss on sacks in a playoff game. I'm still very confident in KOC. I'm going to probably put it at a 7. Lana Ray, you got any thoughts on KOC here? Oh, there we go. A little behind the scenes here. There we go. Jack Lana Ray, how you doing?
Someone screwed up the
Probably
hotkeys.
I will
figure out. I will figure out who screwed up those hotkeys, and I will fix those. No, I actually have a take. I think Kevin O'Connell is a top 5 head coach in the NFL.
Okay, so you still got a lot of faith in him. Yeah.
So I think that any of the talk of getting rid of KOC or any of that, I think is kind of stupid.
Yeah, I
know that people were very emotional Monday night. I would have been as well. It was a tough game. I get it. I think KOC is a top 5 head coach in the NFL. Personally, that's me. But
I saw a funny tweet. It was like, Vikings need to fire Kevin O'Connell. He couldn't win a playoff game with Sam Darnold or Nick Mullins. And it was kind of being like, this was the kind of hand he was dealt with Sam Darnold. And you got 14 wins out of him. But I also think you could take the other side where it's like, if you give Kevin O'Connell all the praise for lifting Sam Darnold up, like when he plays bad, you also got to get on him a little bit. I still have full faith in Kevin O'Connell. I still think he could be the head coach that delivers this football team a Super Bowl. But there's no doubt it was not his best performance against the Lions, against the Rams. But I still think he's going to, bounce back here. But we're going to be talking free agents on today's show because the Vikings have a whole lot of money to spend this upcoming season, actually $78 million. So do you guys have any free agents right now that you guys want the Vikings to sign? In an upcoming segment, I'll give you guys 10 free agents. But the guy that I think a lot of NFL teams and a lot of Vikings fans are going to want, and I already see Bobby Blogs putting in the live chat right now, Trey Smith. One of the best offensive guards in the league. He's right now with the Kansas City Chiefs. But I think you would probably need to pay him around $25 million a year. The highest paid offensive guard right now, Robert Hunt, at $20 million a year. I think Trey Smith's going to reset that market. I think he will probably get, maybe if it's not 25, he'll at least get more than that. He'll at least get around $23 million. But I would pay it. I think the Vikings, you are going to need to overpay for a guy like Trey Smith, but I think it would be worth it because you need to shore up that interior offensive line. Obviously, JJ has more mobility than Sam Darnold, so even if the pocket does collapse, he has more backyard football playmaker ability than Sam had, but you still want to protect him. And, also one kind of argument I've seen was, JJ is going to come in and fix everything. And I think he will be better than Darnold. But what made JJ so successful at Michigan? It was running the football, him playing off the run, playing in those play-action games, and I think that's where he is at his best. And what Kevin O'Connell showed this year, he's an air raid guy. He wants to pass the football 35, 40 times a game, and I don't know if that's necessarily playing into JJ's strengths. So I think a little bold prediction here. I think the Vikings next season, this offense could look completely different, or it could look more of like a Kyle Shanahan run-first offense instead of the KOC way where it's just like, hey, we're going to throw the ball all over the lot. Hopefully they play more in the JJ strengths here. But if you guys got any questions around JJ McCarthy, Sam Darnold, this whole Vikings offseason, whatever it may be. We will be getting into a mailbag in about 40 minutes or so. So use hashtag Vikings or Super Chat in the live chat. You'll get your name and profile picture up on screen next to me and your question. So get in the live chat right now, ask a question, hashtag Vikings, or if you guys want to support the show, just like Garrett Russborough did, send in a Super Chat. But coming up on today's show, we got a lot to talk about. So first segment, Kevin O'Connell. He had some interesting quotes on Sam Darnold that I wanted to share with you guys. We have a Brian Flores update. He actually just got requested for an interview with a new team here. So now he's up to 3. And also we'll talk about KOC extension talks in that video as well. But then also some free agent targets for our Minnesota Vikings. You got a lot of money to spend. I think they're going to be ultra aggressive this year. Try to build that stacked roster around J.J. McCarthy, which really feels like that's been the Vikings' master plan all along. Get a stacked team. Get a QB on a rookie deal. Hopefully he plays at a top 10, top 12, QB level in the league, and you will be successful. But if you guys are ready to go, we're at 31 likes right now. If we could get the 40 likes, we'll kick 50 likes. We're hearing 50 likes. If we get 19 more likes, that is true. And that's only 30% right there. Yeah. No, if you guys could, hit that thumbs up icon. Once we get the 50 likes, we'll start today's show. Just need 20 more of you guys to smash that thumbs up icon. But be able saying nope. There we go. 12 likes away. Help us out. Hit that thumbs up icon. Be able saying nope on Trey when we can get 2 for that price. Yeah, I mean, listen, I get what you're saying, but you're going to need to get a blue chipper in that interior offensive line spot. Like, it's because then also, if you think about it, like, you got your tackle spot solidified. Darisaw coming back. Brian O'Neill, he'll be back. And if you just had Trey Smith there, you got 3 offensive linemen that could be top 10 in the league at the respective positions. Then you can kind of make do with what you have at the center, what you could have at the left guard. You can always draft a guy. You could take a flyer on a 3rd rounder this season. Maybe you start him. But I would be shocked if 50 likes. There we go. Appreciate you guys. I wasn't having faith in them. No, but yeah, I would be shocked if the Vikings run it back with Reisner and Blake Brandel at the guard spot. I think we're going to see 2 new guards. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if we see 3 new players at the interior of the offensive line, even replacing Bradbury. We're at 60 likes right now. Look at you guys. Appreciate you. Shout out to y'all, man. Yeah, I think we had 30. Original was 40, and they blew that out of the water. So we appreciate you guys, man. Shout out to y'all. Zach B saying, who are we keeping in the secondary? Yeah, hashtag Vikings. That's a great question. I'd love to hit that on the mailbag. I'm hoping Cam Bynum and Byron Murphy. Besides that, we'll see. We'll see. Garrett Russborough saying Bradbury needs to go. Yeah, there is a Falcons center that we'll talk about who had a very, very good year. That's 26 years old, hitting the prime of his career. Maybe he could be the center of the future with J.J. McCarthy. But we'll have to wait and see. But appreciate you guys hitting that thumbs up button. We're going to talk about it. Kevin O'Connell on Sam Darnold. Did he pretty much leak what the Vikings are going to do this offseason? Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and did Kevin O'Connell leak that the Minnesota Vikings will move off Sam Darnold this offseason? He had a lot of interesting things to say after the Rams game, so stay tuned. Put on those detective hats. We're going to dive into this Kevin O'Connell press conference here. But, hey, it's going to be a busy offseason for the Minnesota Vikings. What will happen with Flores? Who will we sign in free agency with $78 million to spend? And also, what's going to happen with Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy? There's a ton to talk about, so don't miss a thing around your Minnesota Vikings. Hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it if you guys joined our Vikings Now family. So don't miss out on anything. Hit that sub button. But this was the interesting quote that O'Connell had. He says, I think that can stay with him moving forward, talking about what he learned this past season. Sam and that journey him and I went on will always be something that's a special place in my heart. And maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I feel like if KOC was, or maybe had some inside information that, hey, yeah, we are going to bring Darnold back, he maybe would have came out and said, hey, this was just step 1 in the process for me and Sam Darnold. But he pretty much said he'll always have a special place in my heart. It almost felt like what he was saying, or what he was saying was like what you say to like your girlfriend before you're breaking up with her. Like, hey, I love you, I respect you, everything you've done for me, but you always have a special place in my heart. And then you break up with her. That's really what it felt like. Kevin O'Connell talking to the media after the game. That Sam Darnold's gone, and I think he is going to be gone. But the bookmakers out west, the odds to be the next Vikings quarterback this upcoming season, J.J. McCarthy has moved as the favorite. Honestly, I thought this was going to be around minus 300 for J.J., but they got it at minus 150. Sam Darnold plus 110. If I had to put money on it, I would guarantee you J.J. will be under center for the purple and gold week 1. I just have a really strong feeling about this. This really feels like this has been the Vikings' plan all along to get that rookie quarterback on that rookie deal and build a stack roster around him. And honestly, it might have been a good thing that Sam Darnold gave us an answer to the almighty question, who's going to be the starting quarterback next season, with how he's played over the last 2 weeks. But Kevin O'Connell, he also talked about Sam Darnold's game, and this is very interesting. He said, those moments when you're holding that ball and your reaction is to try to make a play, we can't talk out of both sides of our mouth, because he sure as heck made a lot of plays doing that this year. But I think that's part of the growth. And that was definitely an issue against the Rams. Sam Darnold was holding on to the ball way too long. And now there's been some guys out there breaking down the film, saying how many of those 9 sacks were, Sam Darnold's fault. I've seen it thrown as low as 3, but I've also seen it as high as 8. What I've seen, I counted as 6 of those 9 sacks were on Sam Darnold, and it's actually the most lost yards on sacks in playoff history, and actually second most was Bart Starr back in 1967 when he lost 76 sack yards in a game. So this was obviously a bad performance from Darnold, but we knew that. And that's why I also got so frustrated with Kevin O'Connell in this game versus the Rams. Sam Darnold holds on to the ball too long. Your offensive line's getting their ass kicked. That's when you got to get them some easy ones. Get them some layups. Get them the quick pass game. Get them the run game. Just make your quarterback's life a whole lot easier. I just felt like Sam Darnold had no answers this past Monday night. But Kevin O'Connell carried on to say this. He says, remember, this guy's 27 years old, or whatever he is. I thought that was pretty funny. But he said, I think he has a foundation now of both the things you do at the quarterback position to have success and things you have to learn the long way. And, I think everybody was saying, oh, Sam Darnold lost out on so much money the last 2 weeks. But if you look at the season as a whole, think about how much money Sam Darnold has made himself. This guy turned a 1-year, $10 million deal into potentially him getting $20, $25, $30 million per year, like still in the totality of the whole thing. Sam Darnold has made himself a whole lot of money this season, and I know even I'm frustrated with how Kevin O'Connell handled the last two games, but you got to give this guy credit. Big picture here, he made Sam Darnold a lot of money and completely changed the trajectory of his career. But he also had this to say. He says, I just want to say it's very important we all think about Sam's body of work, what he was able to do this year when not too many people thought he would be able to lead a team to 14 wins. It did not work out in the end, and I think Sam would be the first one to tell you, could he have played better tonight? I'm sure he would tell you he could have. Could I have coached better? I'm positive I could have. And a little bold prediction about next season, because this year it was the Kevin O'Connell air raid attack. Like, he's throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game. I have a strong feeling the Vikings offense will look completely different next season, where I think they will be a run-first offense. I think this is going to be a big look-in-the-mirror offseason for Kevin O'Connell, because when he gets in these big-time games, in December, in January, which also Kevin O'Connell has a 1-5 record in January. And when it's January football, you got to lean on that run game. So bold prediction here. I think the Vikings will look more of like a San Francisco 49ers offense, which ran through that running back. So I would not be shocked if we beef up the offensive line in free agency and maybe draft a guy like Ashton Genty in the first round. That would be my dream scenario for this offseason. But I'll ask you guys this. The Vikings in the last 3 seasons ranked 29th in yards per game under Kevin O'Connell in terms of rushing the football. Will the Vikings be able to run the ball next season? Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Now we'll get to more on Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy here in a second. But first, I got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Game Time. And take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. Now, Timberwolves, they got a lot of fun games coming up. You got the Golden State Warriors coming Wednesday night, and also on Saturday night, the Cavs are traveling to Minnesota. So if you guys want to see, potentially Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, depending on when you're seeing this video, you got a chance to go see some NBA stars live in action, taking on Anthony Edwards and the crew. And also Game Time, they have a sweet feature. It's their seat views feature where it gets you a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you even buy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, I want to close today's show out just going over my top 5 Sam Darnold memories from the season, because I know a lot of us were disappointed in how the season ended, but still in the bigger picture, it was an awesome year. I mean, listen, I was being reactionary after the game. I was saying, man, I would have rather had this team go 5-12, 3-14. I completely take that back. It was a very fun season. So I got my top 5 memories here. And my first memory when I was going back and I was thinking about this, like even dating back to September when the Vikings were taking on the Niners, it had to have been that 97-yard touchdown bomb he had to Jefferson. We were backed up on the 3-yard line. Kevin O'Connell staying aggressive, went play action, completely uncorked one to Justin Jefferson. I remember in that moment, I was thinking to myself, I was like, do we have a guy? Is Sam Darnold about to have a great season? And he did. He had a great season for 16 games. And then the last 2 games, we obviously know how those went. But my favorite memory from the year was early on in the season, that 97-yard touchdown. And number 2 for me, I'm going to go with 5-touchdown game versus the Atlanta Falcons. Now, setting the scene, it was Kirk Cousins returning to the U.S. Bank Stadium. All the attention was on him. And Sam Darnold, the biggest storyline after that game was how well he played. He threw for 5 touchdowns in that game. And also keep in mind, it was a 21-21 game heading into the fourth quarter. And what did Sam Darnold do in that fourth? He threw for 2 touchdowns. Vikings ended up winning 42-21. But that was honestly one of my favorite memories from the season. 5 touchdowns against the Falcons. He spoiled Kirk Cousins' return to U.S. Bank Stadium. Truly, truly just a very memorable time I'll have as a Vikings fan. But number 3 for me, I'm going to go the Bears overtime drive. Now, this was the game where Justin Jefferson, only 2 receptions, 27 yards. He was just, getting most of the attention. He was getting the double, triple team looks, but still in that overtime, Sam Darnold led the Vikings right down the field. He found TJ Hawkinson on a couple of big plays, and actually one of Jefferson's catches in that game came in that overtime drive, which was an absolute seed from Sam Darnold. But I remember with all the, bad memories as a Vikings fan with the Bears, or playing in Chicago against the Bears, the fact that he was able to kind of overcome some of that bad juju. And I remember watching that game, when the Bears recovered that onside kick and then they tied the game up heading into the overtime. They got the ball. I was like, this is going to be one of the biggest disasters in Vikings franchise history. If we end up losing this, Sam Darnold shut that door very, very quick. But another game-winning drive. How about the Seahawks game? 4 minutes left, 24-20 in Seattle. And this guy drove right down the field. And honestly, if it's not the 97-yard touchdown to Jefferson, it's probably the 40-yard touchdown game winner that he threw to Jefferson. Stepped up in the pocket. It was like a jump throw down the left sideline. He got popped in the chest, and Jefferson made an incredible play on the football. But that was another moment where I was like, man, maybe the Sam Darnold guy is clutch. Maybe the Sam Darnold guy is going to be the person that gets us across that finish line and maybe make an NFC championship game, but obviously did not end up happening. And then how about his career high game, week 17 week 17 versus the Green Bay Packers, where he threw for 377 yards. Packers came into that game red hot. They were expecting to win it. They were trying to fight the Vikings for that 5 seed in the wild card race. Sam Darnold shut that door very, very fast, and he tore up the Packers. And that's obviously, I don't know if I'm going to say it's a famous moment or an infamous moment from this season, when Sam Darnold in the locker room They're pouring water all over them. Like, that was truly the peak of the season. That was just all downhill since then. But those are my 5 favorite memories. And let's close out today's show with this. Show Sam Darnold some love. Type his jersey number. Type those 14s down below, because even though I think it's over for him, wearing the purple and gold still gave us some incredible memories. So type his jersey number. Give me those 14s down below. And also, I'm on Twitter. At Pat Sieps is the Twitter handle. Give me a follow over there if you guys haven't already. And we'll see you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes. All right, type those 14. Show Sammy D some love. Shout out to Bobby Blogs, Big O Beast, Joe, Cameron Thomas. What is he talking about? Scatabo? Yeah. Cam Scatabo in the – where's he supposed to go, you think? Day 2? Yeah, hopefully the Vikings get a third-round comp pick. I would love to get Scatabo. Add some physicality to this offense, man. I mean, could you imagine? You got to deal with him first, and it's like Jefferson, Addison, Hockenson on top of that. But I do expect the Vikings to draft the running back this season. If it's not Genty, I would love Scatabo. I was very pissed off, though. Both the Penn State running backs that I like, Singleton and Katron Allen, did go back to Penn State next season. But, man, I would have loved Katron Allen like the 6th or the 7th round. Very physical running back. But Scatabo, I'll tell you what, one thing I'm rooting for, Jack Laneray, is for him to run like a 4.8 40. I would love for his draft stock to just absolutely tank.
Okay.
Go for
it. If people are not aware, don't let the Michigan jersey fool you.
Yes.
I am an Arizona State alum.
Yes.
I went to Arizona State University. Scatabo will run slow the combine.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a burner. He will run slow.
Yeah.
So you could get your wish. He's going to go day 2. He will not go in the first round as much as I would love for him to go in the first round. He's not going to go in the first round. He will go in day 2 more than likely. Yeah. But he will run slow.
I'm just hoping he at least falls to round 3, which I think he will. Maybe a team takes a flyer on him. I'm a little nervous about speaking about another one of your college teams, Harbaugh, taking him in the 2nd round. Get that physical
He's the
running
ultimate
back.
Harbaugh guy.
He is the most ultimate Harbaugh
I've never
guy.
seen someone more destined to be a Los Angeles Charger in my entire life.
If I had to pick the Chargers' first 2 picks, they're going to take Colston Loveland in the 1st round, and then they'll take Scatabo in the 2nd. Like that, I could so see that being the case for Harbaugh. But hopefully he falls to the 3rd, and then the Vikes get that 3rd-round comp pick. I would love to take the Arizona State running back, but he's an absolute bust, man. He's a wagon. Physical, he's a tank. Like he's just honestly one of my favorite college football players to watch. Like that Texas game, talk about putting a team on your back. That was the definition of it. Yeah, throwing up on the sideline. Yeah, what did he say was the reason he threw up?
He said that he like got waterlogged.
Yeah.
And like in the first half, he just wasn't feeling good. So like the quote is, throw up and regain. Throw up and regain. So he threw up, he regained, he got back out there and had like a legendary second half.
Legendary, dude. I would love him. The Vikings do need to address the running back position, though, because I don't want to bring Aaron Jones back as good as he was for the Vikes. He's going to be 31 years old next season. I just think it's time. But Scotty saying one of my favorite college players ever, truly. I wish I was watching Arizona State early on in the season or midway through the year before I got a better look at this guy.
I watched him all year. And I was telling people, this Scatabo guy. I was like, this Scatabo. And I kept saying, they should have been ranked. Why are they not ranked? Why are they not receiving votes? They're a good team. They should be ranked. And everyone's like, it's the Big 12. The Big 12 sucks. Yeah. And I'm like, this Scatabo guy, he should be getting Heisman looks. He's really good. And no one listened to me until the college football playoff.
Yep. And then we all saw it. On full display. But yeah, everybody wants them. Every fan wants their team to draft them. Hopefully it's the Vikes, though. But also if Genty falls to 24, which may have a chance. I could see it happening. I don't know if a team will bite on a running back. No. I'm not even biased. Like Scatabo is a better all-around player. Would you rather, and you guys can answer in the live chat, would you rather draft Genty at 24 or you take Scatabo at, maybe the 3rd or 4th round?
Again, non-bias, okay? I'm being dead ass right now. Like, Scatabo is a better all-around player than Genty.
Yeah.
Now, Genty is a bruiser of a runner. He is so good.
He's fantastic.
He is fantastic. But if you're talking all-around player, you're talking run blocking, you're talking catching the ball out of the backfield, you're talking breaking tackles, yards after catch, yards after contact.
Yep.
It's
also,
Skattebo.
being a guy, like, I love Skattebo, like, blitz pickup. Like, he could be your third down back as well. He'll lay a boom on a blitzing linebacker. Yeah, he's a competitor. And also, Genty, listen, he's a great prospect, but he's not, like, on the Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey level of prospect. He's probably just below that. Going to be a great running back. Depends on where he goes, but still, man, Skattebo in the third or fourth round, man. Yeah, use hashtag Vikings. I would love to talk about Cam Skattebo.
Someone ask a Skattebo question and use hashtag Vikings. That'll be the first question I put on the mailbag.
I was just going to say that. We have an Arizona State guy producing this live show. If you want to guarantee your spot to be the first question on this mailbag, ask about Cam Skattebo. It will be the first one. I promise you that. But, yeah, if you guys could, hashtag Vikings, super chat, get up on today's show. Would really, really appreciate it. But let's talk a little Brian Flores, talk a little Kevin O'Connell extension here. Then we'll get into some free agent targets and then our mailbag coming up in about 30 minutes or so. But let's just dive into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we have a head coaching update around Brian Flores. A new team is actually going to interview him to be their next head coach. And then Kevin O'Connell, is he getting extended? Is he getting traded? We got all types of reports on KOC, but let's start off with Flores here. If you guys want the Vikes to keep Brian Flores as the defensive coordinator, I know I do. I know a lot of you guys do as well. Just hit that thumbs up icon. Get the good mojo going. Maybe a member of Flores' family or maybe him himself comes across this video and he sees 1,000 likes. Maybe he'll just want to stay just a little bit more. But hit that thumbs up icon if you want to keep Flores as the DC. But Albert Breer, early on Wednesday morning, said Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores, Tuesday morning, will interview for the Jags head coaching job on Friday, per source. He also has interview requests from the Jets and Bears, with scheduling still to be worked on that. So that makes it 3 teams. Have requests in for Brian Flores, the Jets, the Bears, the Jags. Now, what we're hearing out of New York is that their number one guy is Aaron Glenn, but also the Saints really want Glenn. So I could see if the Jets miss out on Aaron Glenn here, they're going to pivot to Brian Flores. So I could see that being a case. But also an interesting note on the Chicago Bears. Now, I think they're going to do whatever they can to either get Mike McCarthy or Ben Johnson. But let's just say, maybe McCarthy goes to the New Orleans Saints, which they have some interest there. And let's just say Ben Johnson goes to the Raiders. That seems like that deal could be getting done here over the next couple of weeks. The Bears could be an interesting option because Brian Flores and Ryan Poles, they were teammates at Boston College, which obviously we know politics play a factor in this. And if you could hire one of your buddies, I could see it happening. So if the Bears do miss out on Ben Johnson, that's going to be their number one guy. Try to connect Caleb Williams with a young offensive genius in Ben Johnson. I could see Flores heading out to Chicago. So keep your eyes on that. That could play a huge factor into this. But this was a report I was talking about coming in from Josina Anderson, pretty much saying that the Saints and Jets are going to battle it out for Aaron Glenn. But if the Jets the Jets could want Flores if they do miss out on Aaron Glenn. He set the interview there. So honestly, an ideal situation for the Vikings would be like Aaron Glenn, or let's just say McCarthy goes to the New Orleans Saints. Ben Johnson goes to the Bears, and then the Jets will get Aaron Glenn. I think that would leave an option for Flores to return as the defensive coordinator. But one thing to keep in mind here, do not rule out Josh McCown following Flores to be his offensive coordinator. McCown, quarterback coach right now for the Minnesota Vikings. He even has an interview request to be the head coach of the New York Jets. So let's just say here, the Jets hire Flores. I could see them, Josh McCown, following Flores and being their OC. And then also another report connecting this whole Vikings trifecta to the New York Jets. They're interviewing Ryan Grigson, Vikings senior VP of player personnel for GM. And there was a very interesting conversation being filmed at a Vikings practice where it was Grigson and Flores talking after practice. Don't know what they were talking about, but what if it was the New York Jets job? saying, hey, if you go there, I'm going there, and then let's take McCown with us. He'll be our OC, and we can turn that franchise around. So watch out for the New York Jets to possibly be like, Vikings of the East Coast or whatever you want to call it. But there's actually another, and this is terrible news, I must say. For us Vikings crazies out there, Grant Udinsky, he is kind of a hidden gem on the Vikings coaching staff right now. Kevin O'Connell loves this guy. He's only 28 years old, and Garofalo reported this. The Seahawks have requested an interview with Vikings assistant OC/assistant quarterback coach Grant Udinsky for their vacant offensive coordinator job. The 28-year-old Udinsky has been a vital part of Kevin O'Connell's operation and clearly on the coaching fast track. I would hate this. This is like a hidden gem in the Vikings organization right now. They all love this guy, and I'll give credit to the Seahawks for finding this guy. But a lot of people like him, and he's 28 years old. Could you imagine your offensive coordinator being 28? That would be nuts. But I just had this thought that I want to get out there. Let's just take a positive look of the Vikings collapsing at the end of the season. What if this collapse down the stretch keeps this coaching staff together? Because I do think a big reason why the Vikings won 14 games, got to give credit to the players, but majority of it, I think, was the coaching staff. And you got Flores, McCown, Kevin O'Connell, of course. Like, this is an elite coaching staff we have. Maybe the collapse has people skeptical of hiring Flores. Maybe they don't want to take a chance on McCown, and maybe we keep this coaching staff together. I would absolutely love it. But speaking about Flores, be honest with me. How concerned would you be if the Vikings lost Brian Flores? Scale it for me, 1 to 10 in the comments section. Let me know your thoughts down below. Quickly, my answer to this would be an 8. I would be very concerned because everything I've been saying about the Vikings not being a physical team, at least Brian Flores offers that defensively. And, I think this group that we have on defense, I'd probably give it a B in terms of talent level, but they played like an A group. Now, would another defensive coordinator come in here and get the same production? I do not know, but I would be definitely very concerned if the Vikings missed out on Flores. Now, we'll talk about Kevin O'Connell getting extended here in a sec, but first, I got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. And if you guys download the app today, use promo code CLNS, you guys will get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today, use promo code CLNS, get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, what is Prize Picks? Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. And we got a big game Monday night. Ohio State taking on Notre Dame. And they actually have a sweet deal going on right now where just 1 passing yard from Will Howard will get you a win on Prize Picks. So I'm taking that. And then Riley Leonard, I'm going to take his less on his 167.5 passing yards. And then Jeremiah Smith, great receiver. I just think Notre Dame is going to give him all the attention this Monday night. So I'm going to take the less on his 80.5 receiving yards. But fade those picks, ride with those picks. Just do so at Prize Picks. And download the Prize Picks app today. Use that promo code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use promo code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Massive shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Run your game. All right, are the Vikings going to extend Kevin O'Connell? Quick answer to this is yes. I fully expect a deal to get done this offseason. I don't know if it will be, within the next couple of weeks, or could this drag out to the summer, but I do want to go back a little bit. This was Sunday before the Lions game. Jay Glazer put out a story, and he says, surprise candidate on multiple teams' coaching candidates list. Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. He has 1 year remaining on his deal after the season, and a few teams have an interest in possibly trying to trade for him. Now, my biggest concern on this report is, one, Jay Glazer doesn't just say stuff for clicks. Like if that story came out from like a no-name reporter, I would have probably, been very skeptical of it. But since it was Glazer, this is real. But the question is, for this report, is who leaked this to Jay? Was it coming from another team? I really doubt that. I think this was coming from Kevin O'Connell's camp to send a message to the front office. And if that is the case, one, terrible move by KOC. this was coming out Sunday morning before the Vikings-Lions Sunday night game, winner take all for the number 1 seed, the NFC North crown, and you're putting that report out there the day of the game, and also KOC didn't come out and say, hey, this was not me. This is some BS. He never really said that, so I fully believe this came from Kevin O'Connell's camp, and I don't love it. But Mike Florio wrote up an article talking about KOC getting extended, saying beyond money, O'Connell could be looking for more say in roster construction, for better alignment with the general manager, for a situation where he'll have more of what he needs to put together a team that can get both to the playoffs and win when the postseason arrives. If there's an impasse, the Vikings will have to choose between one more year and no compensation on the back end and listening to the teams that might be calling about Kevin O'Connell. I think this has very little chance of happening. And, I think when he's talking about like the GM and the coach being aligned, they are perfectly aligned, because I think the whole plan this whole time, after you decided to let Kirk Cousins walk, we said, hey, we're going to front load a lot of these extensions. We're going to get a lot of guys in this upcoming free agency period, like they did with Grenard, like they did with Van Ginkel. Then we're going to get a rookie quarterback, develop him for 1 year, and then hopefully year 2, he can hit the ground running with an absolute stacked team around him. So I don't think there's any chance Kevin O'Connell leaves. I'm not buying into this report. But again, it's the NFL. Anything can happen. And even just thinking about what a trade package could look like for Kevin O'Connell, I would assume it would start at 2 first-round picks. I mean, I wouldn't consider that in a heartbeat, but how about this? I'll ask you guys this. Let's just say a team does throw out their 3 first-round picks. F it. They're sending you 3 first, maybe a second in there as well. Would you consider this trade for Kevin O'Connell? 3 first-round picks. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down below in the comments section. I cannot wait to see what you guys have to say about that question. Now, I'm also on Twitter. The handle is at Pat Sieps. Give me a follow over there, and I'll give you guys a follow right back. Thank you guys so much for watching today's show. See you guys next time. Skol Vikes. All right, let's talk about this. Would you trade KOC for 3 first-round picks? I am saying absolutely not. I know it's a haul. It is an absolute haul. I just see all these teams right now who don't have good head coaches, and they're just stuck in the bottom of the NFL.
If you get 3 first-round picks from a not good team, I mean,
I know. It's such an interesting conversation.
Look. I just said 15 minutes ago, I think KOC's a top five coach in the NFL. But if he goes to a Panthers, maybe not a Panthers, that's not a good example.
If
he goes to let's
say the Raiders. Like the Raiders who don't have a coach.
Raiders,
give you a 6 pick.
You get 3 first-round picks.
See, I'm still saying no. I can't do it. I understand it would be very enticing, but I just can't. I'm not giving up on KOC. I think this guy's a Super Bowl winning head coach. And, we know coaching obviously matters in the NFL a whole lot more than the NBA, MLB, NHL. And you got to keep that culture, man. Like, he's building something here. I know we're going through a rough time, but the guy won 13 wins in his first season. He won 7 games in his second year with, Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins, and Jaron Hall. Yeah, I would have to say no on that. But, hey, if you guys want to ask a question about trading Kevin O'Connell, or if you have a better trade package, I'd love to talk about it. This is not going to happen. I'm hoping this gets put to bed very, very soon. But still, when Jay Glazer says something, you got to take it. You got to take it for what it is, because he's not just going to say anything without having some real information on a situation. But what's up, Mr. Rick saying, has any team in NFL history ever traded 3 ones for a head coach? I don't believe so. I think the Broncos traded, I think it was like just 1 first for Sean Payton. Yeah, definitely not 3 firsts, but them boys good saying 3 firsts and 3 seconds, and I'll think about it. We did get to 100 likes. Shout out to you guys, man. Appreciate y'all hitting that thumbs up icon. 3 firsts and 3 seconds. I mean, you would set yourself up. But that's still, I don't know. I don't know. Rob Simpy saying KOC has turned your team around and has done fantastic. Exactly. We'll see. We'll see. I'm still saying probably not on that, even if a team offers you 5 first-round picks. Like, I just can't give up Kevin O'Connell just yet. But we're going to talk about some free agency here. Vikings got a whole lot of money to spend, and I think a big signing could be coming. Let's talk about it. Could a big move be coming for the Minnesota Vikings this offseason? Well, let's talk about it. On today's show, we're going to look at some Vikings free agent targets in this free agency period where the Vikes have a whole lot of money to spend. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. But before we dive into it, I just want you guys to name one free agent you guys want the Minnesota Vikings to sign. I'm assuming I'm gonna see a lot of Trey Smith down below in the comments section, but you guys let me know. Name a free agent you want the Vikings to sign. All right, we got to talk about the money here first, and the Vikings have a whole lot to spend. $77.8 million, according to Spotrac, is how they're supposed to set out as a projected cap space, which is actually 4th in the entire league. So they can throw a lot of money in a lot of different places, but I think the first place we need to address is the interior of the offensive line. And we can start out with offensive guard of the Kansas City Chiefs, Trey Smith, one of the best offensive guards in the league. Let's just call it like it is. And with the Vikings struggling against the Rams, getting their ass kicked up front, even against the Lions, the interior of the offensive line was terrible. And Trey Smith grades out, according to PFF, very, very well. The 14th highest graded offensive guard, pass block 33rd, run block 10th, which I love. You want to get downhill, especially next season. I think you're going to incorporate more of a run game into this offense. But I think in terms of figuring out how much he's going to get paid, well, we got to look at the highest paid offensive line or interior offensive lineman in the league, and that's Robert Hunt, who signed a 5-year, $100 million deal with the Carolina Panthers this past offseason. Trey Smith, he will top that. I don't know by how much. I could see Trey getting a 4-year, $100 million deal, so pretty much just turn that $20 million per year into a 25. I could see that being the situation. If I'm the Vikings, I'm doing that. It would be an overpay. There is no doubt about it. Would I love giving $25 million to an interior offensive lineman? Probably not. But a guy of Trey Smith's caliber, and with how much the Vikings have struggled at that position, I'm doing it. You got to protect whether it's JJ McCarthy or whoever is starting at quarterback next season. So Trey Smith, number 1 by far for me. But let's talk about a guy who was a bust with the New York Jets, but went to the Philadelphia Eagles and had a fantastic season. Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. This guy started off his career with the Jets at the tackle spot. He was bad, but he bounced inside this past season with the Eagles, and he was great. Now, I don't know if Becton is just a product of the Eagles, offensive line farming system where they always have good interior offensive linemen, but he has had a great year from 19th graded offensive guard in the run blocking department, 21st overall. Does struggle a little bit in the pass protection side of the game here, but again, this is a guy, I would love it. Maybe he's not the home run hit like a Trey Smith would be, but still, maybe if you go, you miss out on Trey Smith, you sign this guy, then you draft another guy in the draft, but still, I think the offensive line will be addressed specifically at the interior. And I actually have another guy very similar to Trey Smith that I would be willing to open up the bank for, and that's Drew Dalman, center for the Atlanta Falcons. And I think it's time to admit this. Garrett Bradbury needs to go. I don't want him being the center for J.J. McCarthy. I want the Vikings to go swing big and land a guy who is one of the best centers in the National Football League this season. Also, the Vikings do save around $3.8 million if they cut Bradbury. But Drew Dalman, hear this name and remember this name. I'm going to be talking about this guy a whole lot this offseason. Run block as a center, 79.8 grade, 5th out of 64 eligible centers. Overall, he was the 4th best according to PFF. If you could somehow swing Dalman and Trey Smith and you just send all your money in free agency to the offensive line, I would honestly love it, because then you would have 4 blue chippers at that offensive line. You can figure out the left guard spot however, whatever way you want. But remember the name, Drew Dalman. This is going to be our guy this offseason. I'm really hoping the Vikings can somehow find a way to sign him. But another center, more of a veteran, coming from a team that has always had good offensive linemen. How about Ryan Kelly? Now, Ryan Kelly, he's a veteran guy. He's not like Dahlman's 26 years old, for example. I think Kelly's 32. But still, Kelly, he would solidify that spot. He would be a whole lot better than Bradbury. He has that grown man strength with him, and he's just been very, very consistent with the Colts. Played in a lot of games, never really hurt. Very consistent player at that center spot. So Ryan Kelly, I got him number 4. And then let's switch it over to the defense here. And if you guys notice, my top 5 guys are all in the trenches and all pretty much in the interior of both lines. But what about old Milton Williams? And the thing I love about Milton, this guy can get to the quarterback at the interior defensive line spot. His pass rush grade was 90.4 this season. That's second out of all defensive tackles, but also on the other side, terrible in the run defense. But I think with Ivan Pace, Blake Cashman, I think he would be maybe, I don't want to call him a rotational guy here. I think he would be a 3-down guy, but I would love to take a flyer on him. He's got a super high motor, plays with a lot of swagger, and I just think something about these defensive linemen from Philly, they would add some physicality to this team, which the Vikings desperately need. But I think the biggest need on the roster is interior offensive linemen. You can make an argument for cornerback. You can make an argument for defensive tackles, but you guys let me know. What is the biggest need on the Vikings roster? You guys tell me down below in the comments section. Now, we'll get the 5 more free agent targets here in a second. But first off, got to tell you about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Game Time. And take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app today, create an account, and use that promo code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT. SPORTS for $20 off. Now, Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. Now, if you guys are trying to go to the Timberwolves game this week, Game Time is the best way to get tickets to that event. Go see Anthony Edwards. Go see Rudy Gobert, Dante DiVincenzo. Timberwolves are playing some good basketball as of late, so if you guys want to go see them live in person, download the Game Time app, plug in that promo code CHATSPORTS, and you guys will get $20 off. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, create an account, and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, we're going back to it. Interior offensive line. Patrick Mekari, currently with the Baltimore Ravens, and this guy is a big, physical, bruising offensive lineman. I love the way this guy plays. Super high motor, physical guy, and he plays with such a contagious energy when he's out there on the football field. After every big-time run for Derrick Henry, this guy's getting up there, yelling at the crowd, give him a let's go, and I love that because he loves running the football. All offensive linemen do, but specifically Mekari, I feel like he just gets so fired up when they're turning around and handing that ball off to big old Derrick Henry. So that's another guy. If you miss out on Trey Smith, Patrick Mekari could be a great, great solution at that guard spot. But we're going to kick it to the secondary here. I'm going to go DJ Reed. Now, DJ Reed, he had some interesting quotes at the end of the season with the Jets where pretty much he was saying, I need to get out of here. I'm tired of losing. I want to go to a winning organization. Well, Mr. DJ Reed, why don't you come down to Minnesota? Now, PFF doesn't grade him out very, very well. I think he is way better than how he ranks according to PFF, but still, they grade him out pretty solidly. In my opinion, he had a better year this past season than a guy like Sauce Gardner, and he plays with a sense of swagger. I mean, you guys go turn on the tape of the London game when it was Vikings versus Jets. This guy did a great job on Justin Jefferson. Got physical with him, really step for step with him on a number of routes, and even Jordan Addison when he was manned up. He did a great job. DJ Reed, probably my number 1 cornerback free agent target, but my second one would be Carlton Davis. I love this guy, and when the Lions signed him, I was really disappointed. He again, and I'll tell you what, I hate that I chose this photo. I think I'm just realizing, is that in the Viking Stadium? That is in the Viking Stadium where I chose this. But still, man, he plays with a lot of energy, plays with a lot of swagger, and he would be a great scheme fit with Flores. He can get up, run some press man with you, get in the receiver's hip pocket, and follow him all along the field. He also is a very, very hard hitter, which, again, physicality. If you guys are noticing a trend here, all of these guys, they play the game in a certain type of way, which is tough, which is physical, and Carlton Davis is that, and he would shore up that cornerback position. But still, I think the number 1 free agent target for the Vikings at the cornerback spot is on this roster. Byron Murphy, bring him back, but Carlton Davis would be a great complementary piece to Murph. Number 9 for me, excuse me. How about Javon Kinlaw? Currently defensive tackle for the New York Jets. And, he would, again, be a guy that's just, it's not going to be a needle mover by any means where you're, opening up the checkbook for him and you're paying him a $400 million deal. But you would give him a decent-sized contract. And, if you are going to lose, like maybe a Jalen Redmond in free agency, a Jonathan Bullard, you're going to have to dress that position on the interior defensive line. And Kinlaw would do that. Super high motor, has a plethora of pass rush moves. He does make a little bit of noise in the locker room. Not the best, culture guy, but I think if you bring those types of guys into a good culture, that goes away very fast. But I got Kinlaw at number 9, and then we actually have another Javon here. How about Javon Hargrave? Right now with the San Francisco 49ers, set to be a free agent this year. And, Kinlaw and Hargrave, both physical guys. And again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I'm going to say this all the time this offseason. The Vikings need to be a more physical team. Sign some physical players. Because I don't think Kevin O'Connell will ever have a culture like it is, like how Dan Campbell has it. With the Lions, where they all fly around, where they're all tough, alpha personalities. That's just not really who Kevin O'Connell is, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong. That's just not who he is as a head coach. So how do you combat that? You just sign some physical players, and those are all 10 guys who love playing some physical brand of football, which the Vikings desperately need. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, we'll use this as a real one roll call. Give me a skull down below in the comments section. It's going to be a hectic offseason for the Vikes. Free agency, I'll tell you what, it is going to be a ton of fun. The Vikings will be aggressive. They will hopefully sign some big-time names. And, still my number 1 guy, Trey Smith. But keep your eyes out for Drew Dalman. That's going to be the center target in free agency that I would love. He had a great year with the Atlanta Falcons. So those 2 guys, hopefully the Vikes can somehow convince them to come to Minnesota. But I am on Twitter. That's the handle right there, at Pat Sieps. Give me a follow over there, and I'll give you guys a follow right back. But thank you guys so much for watching today's show. As always, let's go Vikes. All right, you guys let me know. What is the biggest need on the Vikings roster? As Sarah saying, hell no the Kinlaw, hell no the Hargrave. You're not rocking with the Javons, Sarah. You're saying no to both of them. Drive for Diabetes saying only 5 skulls. LOL. Only 5 skulls? Come on, guys. Augie saying get Jack Campbell. I'm assuming the Lions bring him back. And plus the Vikings are fine at the linebacker spot. You can rock out with Cashman and Pace. Maybe you add some depth there, considering you are going to lose Grugier Hill, so you could use a backup linebacker. But I still think biggest need, interior offensive line. Got to be able to protect J.J. McCarthy this upcoming season. You got to be able to run the football, so I'll do that. Ryan saying, do we re-sign Gilmore? If not, who do we sign? That's a great question. If you want to use hashtag Vikings, get your question up on screen. Best way to do so. I'm going to say no on Gilmore. I don't think the Vikes are going to bring him back. But again, that could change. Like I could see Gilmore saying, hey, I'll sign a 1-year, $2 million deal. He's already familiar with Flores. So, maybe, but I'll probably say no. Skull Nation saying Dalman and Trey. I'll say that one quadrillion times. Drew Dalman, Trey Smith. I would honestly take all $78 million and put it towards those 2 guys. I want those guys so bad on the Vikings. Just for once in my life, I just want to have a good offensive line. Like, we haven't had a good offensive line since 2009. So really, just go target those 2 guys, and hopefully we'll be all right. But Skylar, appreciate you for getting a question in there. Caleb Farley, that's a good name to talk about. Appreciate you for that. But again, hashtag Vikings or Super Chat to get up on the show. Shout out to Ryan Chips. That's a good question as well. Hoggy saying we need a kicker. I don't think they're going to bring in another kicker. I think they're going to rock out with Will Reichard, at least till his rookie contract is up, unless he just completely spirals out at the start of next season. But I don't think the Vikes will, sign a kicker. But if you guys could get those questions in there, we're going to dive into this mailbag here. And if you guys want to guarantee your spot, send it a Super Chat. Great way to do so. But let's do it. What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, it's mailbag time, where the whole show is just me answering your guys' questions. We do this a part of our live shows. We go live every Wednesday at around 4 p.m. Central Time. So also, if you guys want to tune in, then please do so. But let's just dive right into it. Bobby Blogs, you knew this was going to be the first question. Where will Cam Scatterbo boo, get drafted? I'm going to say the Minnesota Vikings here, Bobby. So I was thinking about this, the running back spot for the Vikes. I don't think they're going to re-sign Aaron Jones. I think they will either sign a running back in free agency, but if I had to give my best bet, they are going to draft one. And I was thinking about it, like, would you rather draft Ashton Genty at pick 24, or would you rather get Scadaboo in maybe the 3rd or the 4th round? Maybe he goes in the 2nd round. We'll have to see. But one thing Vikings fans should be rooting for, root for this guy to run a slow 40. It would be awesome if he ran like a 4.9. All these draft nerds are freaking out. Oh, how is he going to break away at the next level? I do not care. I would love him on the Vikes. We're going to talk about adding physicality to this team all offseason. That guy's the definition of a physical running back. So I would love it. A lot of fans are going to want their teams to draft the Arizona State running back. But, hey, give me him on the Vikings any day of the week. Card Collector, what's going on, man? Hashtag Vikings. Who do you think are we going to re-sign on defense? So, there's a lot of players set to hit free agency. You got Cam Bynum. You got Byron Murphy. Harrison Smith, actually. Even a guy like Jalen Redmond. He's not under contract for next season. But I think number one, it has to be Byron Murphy. And then if you can bring back Cam Bynum, you go do so. But I don't want the Vikings to miss out on like a Drew Dalman or a Trey Smith, two great interior offensive linemen, to re-sign Cam Bynum. I would rather have them allocate their funds to the interior of the offensive line. But number one guy, you need to bring him back. It has to be Byron Murphy. And it kind of gets to this next question from Ryan Chip saying, do we sign a CB, re-sign Gilmore, or draft a corner? In terms of signing a CB, hopefully you bring back Byron Murphy and then you maybe go out and get like a middle-level guy in free agency. But I don't think Gilmore will be back. The guy's going to be turning 35 years old heading into the next season. He had a good year with the Vikes, but still, when he went up against elite wide receivers, he got cooked. He can still do a number on the mid to bad wide receivers in the league, but I would assume they let Gilmore walk. Drafting a corner, I am going to be very curious to see where the Vikings go with the first-round pick. There's a lot of good corners in this draft. I don't know if they'll use that first to draft a corner, or maybe if Genty falls, will they use it to draft a running back? But kind of if we're drafting a CB, it just depends on what we do in free agency. Like if we only re-sign Murph and then let Gilmore walk, let Shaq Griffin walk, then we look at our cornerback room and it's just Mekhi Blackman and Byron Murphy, then you can pretty much pencil it in that they will draft a cornerback. But we're just going to have to wait and see how this plays out. Carlos, great question here. Should we sign Tevin Jenkins? I would love it. The bad thing about Tevin Jenkins, though, lengthy injury history. He has a trouble staying on the football field, but, if you could guarantee me, like, hey, Tevin Jenkins will be healthy for the next 17 games the next season, yeah, I would love him to be the guard of the Minnesota Vikings. Plus, I would love taking a Chicago Bear, have him come play for us, and then he goes and kicks his ass 2 times a season. But Tevin Jenkins, interesting guy, very talented player, had a really good year, just has some trouble staying healthy. But, hey, I would definitely want the Vikings to sign Tevin Jenkins. Now, I love the answers you guys give me on this, and I had to bring it back for the offseason. Name a random Vikings player down below in the comment section. So I'm not talking to Adrian Petersons. I'm not talking to Justin Jeffersons. I want you guys to get weird. I'll go my favorite wide receiver growing up. I'll go Sidney Rice in that 1,300-yard season he had with Brett Favre back in 2009. But if you guys could, name a random Vikings player down below. Oh, Big O Beast. Oh, killing me with this question. How much longer do you think we have Harrison Smith? I think he is going to hang up the cleats this offseason, and it stinks. I was saying, somebody asked me, like, who on the Minnesota Vikings you wish could get a Super Bowl ring out of this current team, and I said Harrison Smith by far. I think he's going to hang him up. Just the way he was talking after the game, he was very emotional. Maybe he was emotional because he's going to leave the Vikings this offseason, but I could see Harrison wanting to retire a Vike. The guy's 36 years old. I think he was drafted in 2009. He has been here for a while, and he's definitely taken a step back the last couple of years. But I think he's gonna hang him up. Very, very sad, but Big O Beast. I appreciate the question. Skylar coming in. Minnesota should sign Isaiah Simmons to replace Harrison Smith. Isaiah Simmons, very versatile football player. can play multiple positions. He's just not the caliber of player that Harrison Smith is. I don't think you could, I don't think you could sign Isaiah Simmons to replace him. You would probably have to replace Harrison in the aggregate. There is another Notre Dame player. I'm sleeping on his name right now. Secondary guy in this draft, supposed to go late in the first round. Maybe you just have another Golden Domer replace probably one of the best Golden Domers of all time. But yeah, Harrison Smith, man, it is going to be a very sad day if I get that notification this offseason that he is going to, hang it up. But we'll dive into more questions from you guys here in a second. But first off, I do want to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Now, if you guys download the Prize Picks app today, plug in that promo code CONS, you guys will get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, what is Prize Picks? Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Now, if you guys want to make a Timberwolves wild game more interesting, Prize Picks is the #1 way to do so. Or how about this? The big game. Monday night, Notre Dame, Ohio State. They got a great deal going on where just one Will Howard passing yard gets you a win on Prize Picks. So I'm going to take that in my lineup. Then I'm going to fade Riley Leonard and his 167.5 passing yards. Then I'm also going to go take the less on Jeremiah Smith. Great receiver, but I think Notre Dame will have all their attention heading his way. I'm going to take the less on 80.5 receiving yards for Jeremiah Smith. But fade those picks, ride with those picks. I just ask you guys do so at Prize Picks. And download that app today. Use that promo code CONS. Get $50 instantly after you put your first $5 lineup. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CONS to get $50 instantly after you put your first $5 lineup. Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Run your game. Deep Blue G. Great question here because I just got a new report on Flores saying, #Vikings, will Flores stay with the Vikes? So Jordan Schultz, as we're recording this on Wednesday, just tweeted out saying defense coordinator Brian Flores will interview with the Jets and Jags on Friday and the Bears on Saturday. So we knew he was interviewing with these teams. We just didn't know when, but it's looking like this weekend he will knock out all of those interviews. I'm going to say he does stay with the Vikes. If I had to go my head coach predictions here, I'm going to go Ben Johnson still goes to the Bears, and I think I'll go Mike McCarthy goes to the Saints. And then Aaron Glenn goes to the Jets. That is like the wishful thinking from my side on how Flores stays with the Vikes. But, let's just say Aaron Glenn goes to the Saints. I could see Flores going to the Jets. And then let's just say the Bears whiff on all of their top candidates. Then maybe he could go to Chicago. He was teammates with Ryan Poles back in college. But Deep Blue G, no real good answer for you on that. I'm just hoping he does stay. Jane saying, should the Vikings sign a whole new line besides O'Neal and Darrisaw? 100%, Jane. You just can't roll out with J.J. McCarthy next season, Blake Brandel, Garrett Bradbury, and Dalton Risner. It just can't happen. Because what made J.J. so successful at Michigan? He had that run game. He had that physical offense. And then when he was asked in 3rd and long situations, coming off play action, he was incredibly successful. But at least a good thing about the Vikes is you have your tackles solidified for the next couple of years, especially in Darrisaw. I mean, I think Darrisaw over the next 3 seasons, we'll be talking about him, hopefully recovers well from that torn ACL and MCL. But, he's the best left tackle in the league. Brian O'Neal, he's just been consistent, always have been, around the 8th to 9th best right tackle in the league. So, hopefully the Vikes can get some new guys there. Drew Dalman. That's going to be our center we're going to talk about this whole offseason. Hopefully the Vikes can swing him to Minnesota. Skyler coming in. #Vikings. Sign Caleb Farley to a vet min. I would take a chance on it. I believe Caleb Farley was a first-round pick of the Titans. I'll tell you what, that would be very on brand for Kwesi. He loves taking former first-round picks. They don't work out with their team, and then you bring him to Minnesota. He has a resurgence here. So Caleb Farley, I would love to take the chance on him. So Skyler, appreciate you. Bobby Blogs, great name, saying #Vikings. If Flores leaves, who do you want our DC to be? So I've been asked about this a lot. You guys are going to freak out. I guarantee you it would be Brandon Staley. Former head coach for the Los Angeles Chargers. Kevin O'Connell and him are best friends. Not just friends, they are best friends. I promise you, KOC's first call, if we lose Flores, will be to Brandon Staley. I could also see Lou Anarumo, maybe a Dennis Allen, maybe a Robert Saleh. But I would love to take, maybe one of these former head coaches like Dennis Allen, Saleh, plug them in as the defensive coordinator because they're still, maybe they're not great head coaches, but they're great coordinators. So, Bobby, if I had to call it, I'm going to say Brandon Staley. Vikings fan saying, do you still believe KOC is only a good head coach, or were you just in a bad mood? Oh, yeah, when I was saying, KOC is a good coach, I don't know if he's a great coach. I will still stand by that. I think he's a very good coach. Is he a great coach? I don't know. He hasn't won a playoff game yet. I'm not just going to, say he is the next Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, when he doesn't have a playoff win in the first 3 games. Obviously, I was getting very reactionary after the game. I was upset with Kevin O'Connell. But, yes, he is still a very good coach. He's top 5, top 7 in the league. I still believe it. It's just, is he on the level of a Sean McVay, of a Kyle Shanahan? I have no idea yet. We'll find that out over the next couple of years. But I will say this. If he doesn't make J.J. McCarthy work, and we use 3 to 4 years, and we don't win a playoff game, and we just really struggle, I mean, then we'll probably find out how truly good Kevin O'Connell is. But we'll have to wait and see. Garrett saying, how much money do you think the Vikings will spend this offseason? I think they're going to spend it all. I think this has been the plan where it's like, we spent a decent amount last year. Now we're going to spend a lot this season. And then it's like, all right, we got our guys for the next 2 to 3 seasons. We can go on this run with J.J. McCarthy. If you look at all the way the contracts are set up, like they're truly set up to have a rookie quarterback in there. They just can't afford to pay Darnold too. They would completely, limit their ceiling on how good they can make this roster. I think they're going to be very aggressive this offseason. They got $78 million to spend. Probably going to spend at least 60 of that. At least I would assume so. But, we'll have to wait and see how Kwesi plays it. But if you guys made it to the end, you guys know what to do. Give me a skull down below in the comments section. Off season is here, so we appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. And also, how about this? No, I like that. Type skull if you guys also hit that thumbs up icon as well. And also give me a follow on Twitter. Handle is @PatSieps. Give me a follow over there. I'll give you guys a follow right back. See you guys next time. As always, Skull Vikes. Alrighty, that will do it for our live show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Had around 2,000 people join us today. I appreciate you. U-Haul in the chat. What's going on, U-Haul? Cameron Thompson saying, what if we get Benjamin Morris at the draft? See, I think that's the Notre Dame guy I was thinking of. I would love it. He's a dog, though. Just to look that up. I'm pretty sure that was who I was thinking of. Yeah, that's the Notre Dame guy I was thinking of. Yeah, I would love him. Stud player. What a great Harrison Smith replacement. Just get another Notre Dame guy in there. Ryan Manley, what's going on? Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. But we're going to sign off here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel as well. Keep you posted with everything around the Minnesota Vikings this whole offseason. But thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys next time. As always, Skull Vikes.